Okay, now let me show you a hero. Let me show you the author of this bill, and I want to get to the author first, Pat. We have to do the author of this abortion bill, and all they're asking is for truth to come out, to not say that, when you're in an abortion clinic, that it's to not say, well, it's just flesh.
What they're trying to do in Wisconsin is what we did here in Texas, where we show you the ultrasound before you make up your mind as to whether or not you're going to have an abortion.
So all you're asking
is that really that bad a thing?
All you're asking for is information. Show you information. Now, they don't like it because they say it's just a blob of tissue.
I'll tell you why they really don't like it, because 95% of women who have been shown an ultrasound choose not to have the abortion.
Right. They say the argument against it is it's too emotional. Well, why is it emotional? Because you're hearing a heartbeat. You're recognizing it as a human. What they're doing is they're trying to emotionalize everything by saying it's a blob of flesh. It's not. It's got a heartbeat. It's got a face. It has fingerprints and hands. And so you should see it. And if you then indeed say at the end, it's still a blob of flesh, I don't care if it has a heartbeat or not, flush it down the toilet, then that is your choice. And that's all this bill is asking for.
I would actually disagree with that analysis in that I think the emotional part of this is the part where you're not hearing the heartbeat. The sober decision-making happens when you have the facts, when you're thinking about what it really is. They always want the emotion to be making the decision. The emotion is, I have pressure on my life. Things are terrible. I don't know how I'm going to deal with this. The sober decision-making comes when you have a cost-benefit analysis of what it's going to do to your life and what it's going to do to a real person that's growing inside of you. That's where the real decision, the emotionless decision is made.
Okay, I want you to hear this.
Because but the author of the bill getting pounded, as you can imagine, in Wisconsin.
Pounded.
By these people who
This woman is a hero.
I mean, just vile stuff being said about her and the bill. So she stands up and says this.
The theatrics surrounding the former presentation, as we all know, those of us that look at the bill and read the bill, it exempts rape and incest. So some of the theatrics, please know that. As those that read the bill and understand that. We had a lady testify, her name was Carol. She testified that a number of years ago, she went to a clinic, found out she was pregnant. I believe her location was Kenosha. The testimony's out there. We can track that down. She was told to go to Milwaukee and get her abortion. She described the very cold procedure and what happened in the cold environment. She went to this cold environment. Someone was sitting there passing around Valium. She goes in, she's crying through the procedure. They told her, don't worry, it's a blob of tissue, you're doing the right thing, get it over with quick. She goes home and lives with this day after day after day after day. The rest of her life, she lives with this trauma. And it's time for that to end. It's time for women to know the facts. It's time for them to know what they're carrying in their womb and what they're doing. They get those full facts. They make that decision. It's legal. They do it. They terminate their pregnancy. If you have a loved one that's thinking about terminating their pregnancy, for crying out loud, you want them to have full information. You want them to have an ultrasound. You want them to know what's going on in that womb and what they're doing, and that they're not going to be able to change that for the rest of their life. They make that decision. It's over. It's over in a few minutes, and then later on they can live with the fact that they terminated their pregnancy and it was the best thing for them. Or they killed their child and they made a horrific decision and they regret it and they wish they never would have done it. And for those that want that information and wish that they never would have done it, that's what Sonia's Law is about.
Wow.
That's amazing.
Powerful.
And you should watch. It's up on the Blaze, and it's like a 20-minute clip of the discussion, and the Senate just goes into chaos at some point. The speaker or whoever it is stands up with the gavel and is just, you are out of order, and it gets nasty, really nasty. And as they are voting, they are still jeering on the floor. And the bill passes, by the way. There's something. Michigan is changing. Wisconsin is changing. They've had enough. Mm-hmm. They've seen what it is doing to jobs. They've seen what it's doing to their communities. In Michigan, they waited too long, but everything's changing because they've had enough of the nightmare of socialism and social justice. And it's good. There's some good news. You're about to win, guys.